So the empire of the mind, and like I said, the next chapter is the dark family. So it's going to talk about the darkness after this chapter. The next one, it'll be the dark family. So empire of the mind, and I always say this is a holographic machine. How come we don't know about it? This fleeting moment of time between 1987 and 2012 involves rediscovering ancient hidden ideas and examining what you have built your foundation on, and perhaps reorganizing it. Further consideration of how you have developed as a society and culture may show that a great dismantling is necessary. We remind you to do the dismantling in your mind, allowing the old structures and belief systems, which are the core of modern day political and educational thinking, to dissolve on their own. Without blame or anger, realize that you are in the midst of a perpetual shift. If you proceed in this way, the new energies will harmonize with your biological being. However, if you hold to these ideas that are no longer vital and alive, you will find it very challenging to maintain your vitality and, we dare say, your life. Changes of energy have a purpose, as we have said. Everything has a frequency, and some frequencies are compatible and some incompatible with your being. Yet the more you grow in consciousness and maintain the frequency of love, the more you will be able to transmute the incompatible frequencies into harmless energy. As you expand into the being that we are eliciting, you will have more energy, power, and love inside yourself. And that forms a toxicity outside you that will have a free ride through your field. A higher vibration or frequency is created by the way in which you integrate and establish peace throughout your spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical bodies. Once this occurs, your frequency is self-assured, self-producing love, and centeredness negates any harmful outside frequencies. Life is changing at an accelerating rate, and you are here to become winds of change, not to fight the change. And where everybody wants to fight. It's not about that. It's you have to learn to do something new. And all these new energies are very intelligent. Perhaps you're reflecting on the words and ideas we will pull through the dimensions to place on the buffet table for your nourishment. We ask you once again to consider what your life has been teaching you lately, what your body has been saying, what mirrors you have experienced, and how you have interacted with it all. And know that you know yourself a little more. Ideally, you can step back and, in your knowingness, release all judgments. If you feel that an area of your life needs attention, or if you find that you have slipped into patterns of experience or behaviors you wish to avoid, then be aware of it. It is in these areas you will be tested to see if you can literally change your old behavior responses. Relax. There's no passing or failing these tests. You have done well to move this far in your journey of Earth in these times of momentous change, times which are sought out like hidden treasures. Explorers and divers on the planet travel the continent and ocean, following old maps and reading old legends, searching for buried treasure and artifacts of valuable books and antiquity or lost cities. Everyone has been in search of something. Earth is held in a similar regard, and it is this particular point in time that is a gem, a hidden treasure in the book of existence, not merely Earth throughout all probable times. Gems of times are sought out because they hold something of unique value. You place value on material objects. This has become such a focus of mankind that you have dictated the power of thinking, or dedicated the power. Abdicated the power. So you gave up your power of thinking. Your institutions trained you to become producers of a system that cannot produce enough, a system based on producing more and more and throwing more and more away. As a result of giving your authority to others and believing what you have been told, rather than thinking for yourself, you are overexpanding into the physical world to focus on material comforts. You have destroyed your environment, or so it appears. Rampant materialism separates you from the library of earth found in nature, which is your connection to the mother. As you expand your confidence and apply the new ideas springing forth in you, you will have many unique experiences. At first, it may appear that you are alone in your expanded perspective. And if that is the case, it is important to feel good about it, because self-realization happens alone in the core of your being. If you are fortunate to be connected with other people from the beginning, then perhaps you will go through your isolation period later. However you are experiencing the discovery of who you are, it is important to grow from that point, allowing the fans of consciousness to unfold completely. By now you have probably reflected on yourself, your bloodline, and your purpose for being, as well as the reasons you continue to journey with us. In your reflection, we ask you to go further while you read our words, to imagine yourself into the past and future, to journey both to the time of Atlantis and to December 2012. The affinity sign, the numerical 8 over your third eye, can act as a transport center. So electrify and energize the symbol around your eyes, especially where the lines join at the third eye between the brow. Drift into this process and, seeing two vistas, find yourself in Atlantis and in 2012, for both places exist simultaneously. Remaining focused on the now, notice your body, your breathing, your energy around your physical form as you hold the doorway ajar. A window of time opens for you in both locations of time. Coming from your year 2012, why would you return to now, to this now? And if you were from Atlantis, would you choose this point in time? Holding these two avenues of time open in your mind and forgetting that you are from Earth, see if you can tune into why beings from other points of time want to enter into this fleeting moment. What would be the purpose? Breathe deeply and consider the purpose these two groups of time jumpers have in common is hunting treasures here. Polluted earth treasure. What could the treasure be? The treasure is not so evident. Treasures are usually hidden. When you travel through the sites of antiquity on earth, they appear to exist in your current reality, the year in which you visit them. However, in actuality, all time exists in every moment, in every direction. Even the place you are currently occupying has layers of other worlds and times only separated by their frequency. It is frequency modulation that allows you to enter these worlds of time. Why do you think time jumpers are coming to your world? What are they looking for? We dare say they are here to affect your frequency. An opportunity exists for all of existence to experience the frequencies that you produce and the energy that you are, to participate in the unfolding within you of a unique version of reality where the closed fan can completely open in the blink of an eye. The band of existence through which your science notes frequency is called the electromagnetic spectrum. You exist as a frequency on that band, and like the radio signal, you can be located. However, your frequency is beginning to expand beyond that band, although the dial does not turn too far just yet. As the years unfold towards 2012, you will begin to gain full access to an expanded spectrum of frequencies, which is your destiny, and why it is exciting to see that what you will do with this opportunity. We are time jumpers who enter your reality and change time. That is what some time jumpers do. Your world exists like a piece of Swiss cheese with holes permeating the field of existence. The family of light is here to mend some of the holes. These tears in the etheric field, where other energies have entered to wreak havoc with you. As third dimensional beings, you do not perceive the pollution your thoughts have created in the invisible realms. For their own reasons, many forms of intelligence have come here to watch the version of your world that will unfold to a very high frequency, with you utilizing full brain capacity and full access of the band of consciousness. Through the process of rapid and drastic accelerating change, some people will forget why they are here and will continue to believe scenarios of limitation. This lack of awareness is like a great mountain that you must move. How will you transmit the new energies so other people can feel the potential pathways? Many humans believe they are not capable of hacking their way into the new territory, and that is why the family of light, time jumpers, extraordinaire, creators of change, rearrangers of systems of consciousness and of existence itself, is here to pioneer a new pathway of consciousness. Once you discover the so-called harbors of consciousness, you must then move inland to new territories inside yourself. You must become extremely focused on what occurs around you all the time. Everything is a code, a message, and has many, many meanings and many plans within plans. You are designed to expand into a much higher state of awareness, to move the tuning dial on the electromagnetic spectrum from where you have been located for eons, living in a little band of frequency. The energy of change and the shift of consciousness propelled by cosmic forces have come to expand you. As you expand, you must consider many more possibilities. The new territory will be undecipherable at first, because you may journey into a new spectrum of opportunity and apply your old belief systems once you get there. Remember, many of the explorers who left the European continent 500 years ago set out looking for one thing and found another. When they made a discovery, they did not always understand it because they superimposed their old ideals and expectations onto the new world. The indigenous people who encountered the waves of explorers were hard-pressed to hold on to their connection to the great Mother Earth. You can conceive of this expansion of your people that occurred 500 years ago because you have studied it in schools and know that the age of exploration has been extensive on this planet. Now it appears to many people that your world is full and that every nook, cranny, and crevice have been explored. But do not be fooled by this notion. The world is still a place of mystery, holding a multitude of territories that have barely been explored. You are like a drop of water that considers itself whole, yet a part of the great ocean. You have to expand to understand that you are connected to something massive. Existence. Earth's mysteries are pulsating and ready to unfold now to share with you her own book of knowledge that holds many secrets. The core ideas you have studied in school about the age of the earth and the development of civilization will be discredited in the next 10 years because of rapid acceleration of learning is occurring. Some of you may say, well, I have already thrown out my history book. We are speaking of the global expansion of consciousness and realization resulting from few pioneers willing to reinterpret and make new roads of possibilities into the realm of consciousness. You co-humans will seek out a new road because the ideas you pursue are fresh and vital and alive. Ideally, as consciousness or as Earth unfolds, you will interpret your role as that of significant beings. As you establish balance within your own being, consider that everyone around you is coded to change. And everybody, but not everybody, is going to choose to change. A lot of people want this knowledge for the wrong reasons. A lot of people, like I say, we're all gods. We always have been. But you can't go into it if you're in a lower thought form and energy. It won't allow for that, because all you're going to do is harm and destroy. Those willing to be pioneers will set the path of frequency and make the highways and byways. Ideally, you will not all cluster together, yet will still realize that you are part of one gigantic possibility where you are significant, where your value is priceless, and most of all, where you understand what value really means. The treasure is your ability to manifest yourself as frequency beings, to span the electromagnetic spectrum, to live in it, and to dance it as time jumpers, understanding that you can change the frequency you hold in your being, and that by changing it, you can access the world around you. We remind you that it is essential for you to build strength and love in your physical being, for you who has to address and name. The you who came through the birth canal of the mother. This is the you to whom we appeal, the one who is completely and totally ensconced, addressed, and located in the 3D. Whatever you are doing, you are part of a treasure, and if you are drawn to our words and to follow this journey, then rest assured that whatever you are dealing with in your life is helping you to unfold to a place of expansion, where you will understand the law of frequencies. Perhaps the plants will teach you, or the animals, or you will become psychic with your family, friends, and co-workers. You will begin to know, your ancestors will unfold in you. Possibilities that may seem vague and distant now will eventually become very real. Sometimes you overfocus on how something will happen rather than putting your attention on what you want to occur. It is important for you to emphasize what you want. I want to be well. I want to be creative. I want to meet more people and have more meaningful work. I want more abundance. I want to travel and explore the opportunities that exist in the world. I want love. I want new ideas. These statements set the direction of your arrow of intent, allowing unfoldings of multidimensional consciousness to be attracted to you. You, according to the vibration of your field, it is essential for you to grasp that you are multidimensional creatures. You will not travel the electromagnetic spectrum as yourselves, or not in a way that you currently perceive yourself. Remember the explorers who went from a flat to a round world view. They imposed their own paradigm on what they saw rather than allowing the indigenous people to teach them another worldview. Your ancestors did not always have a language for their multidimensional travels. There are no billboards or road signs, spotlights, or rules of trafficking and traveling. If it is an unlicensed area and no one is regulating or testing you to travel there, this is uncharted in your mind. Your ancestors had to build wooden sailing ships to traverse the oceans to discover the new world they were seeking. Whereas you build ships in your mind, or ships appear that were built in the minds of others from Atlantis or 2012, seeking to explore the fleeting moments. What are the time jumpers looking for? We dare say they are looking for you and what you can produce. So we generate an energy. We're like batteries. And we have this creative energy, but we don't understand how to use it. We don't know how to use our mind, so they can manipulate us and they can drain us. Okay, where did I leave off here? I got lost a little bit. Okay. You are fascinating creatures. There is no doubt about it. You have a tendency to maintain and stick to what you find. Many of you are slow to change, and once you do change, you hold on to your change like a crab clasping with claws. You hold that tight. It appears that if you can be stimulated to shift into a frequency that will change the way you experience the world, you will learn to maintain this frequency. This you can do. The challenge is in dismantling the old frequencies. Yet many of the cosmic weather changes coming your way are designed to assist you in this process. If the headlines on the newspaper read, "Comet here to shift consciousness," the statement itself would shift consciousness. You are so programmable that whatever you see in print you believe, for it is part of your nature to believe, which is why we appeal to you to have more discernment. As your multidimensional sense has many names and takes on many shapes and is a part of your electromagnetic field. Once you shift your frequencies and build your vibration outside yourself, you will begin to connect with these other forms of intelligence that are also you. And that's where I said with this flames of light, this higher self, it's going to come in for people. It's going to do a lot of things. You can't command it. It's way more intelligent. It's billions of years old, super intelligent, knows everything. The fiduciary exists as a wayshower and a travel guide between sites of being and sites of existence. Most of you have traveled to parks, sacred sites, and recreational areas where you often find rangers' guides showing you the way, pointing out the highlights that are happening in the areas to you are visiting. Well, imagine there is an entity, an energy, a vast unified collective voice that exists for each one of you as the focal point from where your expansion is managed. So you are not left fluttering in the wind of the hurricane, tossed around and tumbled upside down. The fiduciary, in actuality, can assist you in holding and moving your opening fan of consciousness, showing you which direction to turn and modulating the frequencies that contain events or vibrations that occur within a certain period of experience or time. Your personal name is part of your frequency. Identifying yourself as a human creates a frequency. Your address, social security number, everything used to relate to the outside world are a part of your frequency, as well as whatever you say and think about yourself. Some of you have become over-focused, repeating frequencies within your field by identifying again and again with the same life experience. As a result, your field of energies have become quite dull and devitalized. If you do not fill your energetic field with new experiences, new ideas, new versions of yourself, your field becomes dim and worn, bored with the same old story. Once you have explored the depths of healing inside yourself and examined what you need to confront, move on. Create new stories. When you tell the old ones, tell them in a bit differently each time. And when I tell stories, I always tell them differently all the time. Cindy has known that since she's met me. If you repeat the same story about yourself again and again, then be aware that you are missing an opportunity to gather another perspective from these gems of experience. Life or near-death imprinting memories, joy and ecstasy, tragedies and crisis. When you speak of your experience, intend to gain new awarenesses, to hold more expanded views, and to see what the story becomes. If you would each approach your lives in this manner, then when Earth relinquishes her hidden secrets, you will learn a different history about yourself as well. The time jumpers in general are not here for gold and artifacts, although a few want to discover books, to hide something, and to change others. Many are here to experience or affect your frequencies, to modulate it in support of your expansion, while others seek to create chaos and confusion. The earth knows these designs and is timed to perfection for her own unfolding, no matter how much weather control or destruction of the environment you wreak upon this great sphere of living consciousness. The earth will still relinquish to you a greater story of yourself. Places where you originally thought civilization had sprung forth will be reconsidered. We mentioned that the Fertile Crescent was an area worthy of the gods because there was plenty of water, the topography kept people separated. It was easy to map. However, there were other great waterways on your planet, and civilization always flourished around the great waterways and rivers. As we look through the pages of time and see the probabilities that unfold, those of you who seek to understand your ancestors and the true meaning of living have already created a powerful force. The earth feels these energies and will soon relinquish antiquities and discoveries in North America's continent along the riverways that will shock the world. Floodings will wear away structures to reveal antiquity and show that the seasons of change is upon you. In your day-to-day life, use common sense and respect, because the years ahead will host a great play of nature, where she will vie for your attention, just as the cable television station and the internet vie for your subscriptions. So too will Mother Nature. She will want you to sign up to subscribe to her channel, which is free. So if she howls or rages outside your door, pay attention, for she is calling and saying, I have a message for you. Change is here. And the change is not necessarily a change of a neighborhood, a job, a marriage, a death appearing on your doorstep. The change is based on frequency, change within you, the habits, the actions, and the way you participate in life. The fiduciary will link you up, becoming your own version of the internet, so that Mother Nature's vibration and distribution of intelligence will be administered for you, and everything will make more sense. It is now possible for many of you to have this energetic link up by building trust inside yourself, knowing the link is there and never doubting it. You must build faith in the administrator, the fiduciary, for without the faith you cannot have the service. As you perceive more, it is important to understand that although energies can appear in your field as solid beings, they may simply be riding the wave of frequency, matching your frequency to frequency, appearing as real when they are merely holograms. You too can travel to places that appear to be real, yet your journey on the electromagnetic spectrum, facilitated by the fiduciary, may be a holographic experience. You must explore the idea of holograms, holographic machine. What can be made? What can be developed? As a human cloning, holograms are nothing new. Everything your culture discovers in the years ahead are replications, repetitions of what your ancestors throughout time could do. Your artistry will spring forth, and you will wonder who planted the seeds and where the gardens of magnificence could have originated. This is probability before you. Look for the vibrations and decide if you want to be in resonance or consciousness, where you unfold and tap into the abilities that your ancestors held. And when you agree to participate, the earth will reveal her layers of time to you. As we said earlier, where you sit right now, many worlds exist, coupled and piled, one upon the other, yet each is isolated and separated, full in its own integrity, unique and safe. How can so many dimensions of time share one space? How can so many lives and so many forms of intelligence all share one body and one mind? You may think of it as receiving 5,000 television channels all at once, each with a different show. We remind you of the technology you are developing at a rapid rate, and the secret technology hidden from you are both reflections of your own abilities. Remember as you move through the fan of time that everything can begin to splinter and fracture, resulting in too many pieces and uniqueness. Like the frayed ends of a fabric growing and growing until the fringes become larger than the great tapestry itself, dribbling off into meaningless tangle of nothing. For this reason, it is essential that you keep yourself woven together. We have said often enough that you are here to learn to live, and living will become the whole new experience. There is no reason to be frightened or of the coming changes, although fear, fright, and hell on earth will be expounded and sold in greater measures than ever. This 25-year period is the test how far you can go into the forgetting, and in this same lifetime bridging and reclaiming full memory. That may appear to you like the family of dark forgetting and the family of light remembering. However, the world management team considered by many to be the family of dark, and the secret rulers of your planet seem to remember. They know about multidimensionals and that is the difference between you and them. They deal with the invisible realm because they have kept the secret knowledge for themselves. Your gods have disappeared in the Piscean age, and it is the family of light who have forgotten. So now you must remember what the family of dark knows and come into balance with this knowledge, seeing the world you share with one another. You will be challenged to redefine what you consider light and dark, good and bad. On your own, you may be baffled by this task, so keep your eyes open and see the connection made by your fiduciary. Listen very carefully to the voice of Spirit, the Ka, that vague ephemeral quality of the Egyptians so valued. The voice of the fiduciary has its existence in many aspects and electromagnetic spectrums, leading to many lines of time and probable worlds. This is an aspect of multidimensional existence that you are beginning to access. Picture your own administrator and imagine the vast order of knowledge is being settled upon you now. We can assist in the energy transfer because it is frequency we can broadcast, giving you the opportunity to vibrate with and hold it for yourself. We send you that frequency to you now, and it is your will and intent that will switch it on like a light again and again. Learn to use the administrator and feel the organization of intelligence that seeks you out, that calls you to know so much more, and leads you to explore third-dimensional living in such a way that magic unfolds before your eyes. The discovery of the clues to living and the Earth's true significance is not merely a journey for the few, or simply a career for archaeologists or staid members of explorer clubs. It is the task for all humanity to expand and explore. As you contemplate your life and feel a change occurring inside, what frequencies will you create for the Earth? What civilizations will you leave for your descendants to record? What legends and myths and feats of renown will be written about you? Remember, you have already been written about backwards and forwards in time, and at this time you came back to this now to gather more experience and to change. Our words may have you wondering about the continuity of time. If time can be entertained at any moment from so many different directions, how stable is it? Time appears to you to be quite constant and reliable. You just have to look in your history books to confirm time's stability. Yet as you begin to unfold your fan, you will see that not only can you expand your consciousness into time, but all characters in time who can find the right frequency and who desire to be pioneers and treasure hunters can seek out the frequency bands of the Earth during this 25-year period. What is your job in this maneuvering? Well, I'm going to try to get to the end of this chapter, and then Cindy can come in.
What is... do the puzzle soon.
Huh?
You might have to do the puzzle soon.
Oh, right. What is the job in this maneuvering? Let everyone jump in. To forget yourself. Or you, idly, a treasure. Something truly profound springs from the nanosecond of existence that is currently just one of reach, just out of reach, yet on the cusp of revolutionizing human existence. Become aware of yourself as a valued being, knowing that your every thought seeds the future. As the family of light, we look in the book of earth and remind you that the frequency you are looking to build is one of love, and there are many ways to do it. Your ancestors did not always love the beings they met when their multidimensional selves unfolded, and they were often at war with them. The gods came and filled the heavens with darkness and poisons. They also came and filled the heavens with sound, light, and love. Your ancestral lineage on this planet through the dimensions and through the heavens is varied. Energies are attracted here by your frequency. Frequency seeks similar frequency. As family of light, you are here to create a frequency of healing and balance around the earth and take the highest opportunity at hand, the most difficult task, and raise the frequency from one of despair and fear to one of great ecstasy, love, and achievement. Once this occurs, and you have established Earth in this vibration, you will experience the 1,000 years of peace of which your story and legend speak. You may think someone else is going to save you and create the space. A Messiah, an ancestor from the heavens, fixing your problems and giving you solutions to your illness and pollutions. In truth, the coming that you have been waiting for is coming from your coming of consciousness. Again and again throughout the ages, a quickening occurs that offers possibilities to hold knowledge and be responsible. To be a creator, there are some beings in the heavens who applaud you and see 6 billion new gods potentially arising on earth. What energy, what vitality. 6 billion new gods. Who will manage them? Will they weave themselves together, or will they become frayed fabric, a tangled mess, destroying themselves and going nowhere? We share these metaphors and the ideas with you as the tales and imaginings, as stories that compel you to reflect upon your own living, why you live, why everything is so intense, and why every industry, every job is crumbling in some way. The newness that springs forth sometimes grows itself by the next afternoon. The brilliant idea of many billions one day are seen as bankrupt the next. You are experiencing the expansion of human genius. The fine lines have always existed between genius and insanity. We want you to be clear about this: genius, insanity, light, dark, yin, yang, good, evil, are all two sides of the same coin. You may turn from one side to the other to know the fine balance between them, which is actually what you are seeking, the place where you know light and where you know dark. For by maintaining these frequencies, you separate your connection to the whole with the same energy the Creator does, like a parent knowing that children will all grow up to be fine. The real wholeness frequency is a feeling of peace within, a feeling of knowing your ancestors, knowing your past, present, future lives, and all of the probable lives you could have lived. You would realize all the choices you did not make, and all those that were made and lived. The marriages, schools, jobs, traveling, and the moves, everything in your life is a part of your multidimensional inheritance that the energy of the administrator, the Ka, can assist you in integrating. This energy is a voice of kindness, a voice of honor, and honors you, a part of yourself that assists you who wants the state, what you are and yet needs support in dealing with your development and growth. A plan from the family of light, and for those who care to come to the reunion, sometimes family of light plays the martyr role, as they did in the bridge of the Aryan age and Piscean age, and all through the Piscean age, where a tremendous number of martyrs appeared. Martyrdom is now over, and a playfield, respect for being human, with no offense to others, is your ticket to translate your vast multidimensional inheritance. Remember that you are not, or remember that you may not know at first where some of your abilities, ideas, and talents are derived from. Yet truly a renaissance is upon you, and one of profound, so profound as to be recorded in the annals of time. You are watched to see what you will build as frequency modulators and designers of the mind. As you build the spans of your bridge into a new age, it is essential that you know who you are and what you want, and that you not be afraid of yourself as you encounter others. Family and friends, lovers and partners, and all the various beings that occupy existence within you. Once again, we remind you that the process of change is not designed by destabilize humankind. It is designed to rebuild the core of your being so you can truly become the magnificent beings your ancestors are awaiting. You have been influenced by numerous forms of intelligence, and they will all return now, each of your influencers in one way or another, to combine their energy with you once again and see what you will produce. Your influencers have taken human as well as multidimensional forms, beings of power that once walked your earth, conquerors, kings, queens, popes, presidents, and other people of renown are incarnated now and once again open their bags of magic tricks in order to live and learn a lesson. The gods and all creatures from the heavens, taking various shapes and names, guises, disguises, from angels to reptiles, are all here in your world, as they were in the world of your ancestors. Remember the experience of your ancestors had with your multidimensional relatives could not be written, since often there were no words to describe what was occurring. To depict their experiences, your ancestors left signs and symbols, often carved in stone, as important information to pass on. Symbols help you understand abstract concepts based on direct experience that cannot always be translated into words. As you expand your ability to produce and experience various frequencies, the simple act of running your hand over any of the ancient symbols, stars, sun, moon, serpents, geometric shapes, squiggly lines, and dots, seeing them before your eyes will be enough to open the library door where the symbols will become whole lessons, like encyclopedias of knowledge based on frequency. When you emit your frequency while looking at the symbol, it can open an area of knowledge that your ancestors left to prepare you for at this time of opportunity and change. You are unfolding rapidly now like a deck of cards endlessly fanned and rippled, and in every second of your existence you move quickly towards opening to more energy. Look around and be grateful for who you know. Seek to learn from one another, because it is through your relationships with each other that you qualify for relationships with other ancestors and the multidimensionals. You must remember the earth is a treasure sought out and hunted for on the line of time, and you have something of immense value to offer. So be proud of who and what you are. A priceless quality is unfolding in you. So be alert to who you are and be grateful to be alive. The immensity of this task is almost beyond description. It is as if you are journeying down a birth canal, squishing, and pressured to move from where you were comfortable, yet your will and desire to be alive pushes you out. Many babies are not given the opportunity today. They no longer thrust themselves forwards in natural birth, at least not in the Western world. Women have become fearful of the birthing process, and so their relationship to their intimate others, the babies they produce, has been compartmentalized and controlled. As women have become afraid of the experience of birthing their own kind into being, the goddess has been tricked into fearing her greatest ability to bring forth and nurture a life. We speak to men and women, all humankind. Imagine who you can be, and thrust the birth that a child experiences part of the natural movement into the world. When you unnecessarily cut children out of the bellies, you deny them their inherent right to thrust themselves into existence and unwittingly hold a frequency of fear for them and who they might be, rather than a frequency of welcoming grace, no matter who they are. It is essential for you to understand that as you explore your relationships to the world, you populate and create. You must examine your method of reproduction. Cloning will not be a solution. The act of sexual intercourse imprints the cells, and without it, a certain vitality is lost. Yet you may not discover this difference for many years. You may eat genetically altered plants and animals and discover a long time from now that the vital substance was missing. Those who clone humans and have for a while wonder why the clones are never quite up to snuff. It is because they were not created with the act of sex. It is true that humans can be born out of a violent sexual act. However, there is still a vitality, a thrusting, a coming together with a passionate air of energy that imprints life, whether lovingly or violently. When life is stimulated by an electric probe in the petri dish in the sterile laboratory, that life does not have the same vitality as the life that is true-born. People are having difficulty producing children these days. Sperm counts are down. Women suffer from nerve and anxiety over not living up to the icon of the Barbie doll. People no longer enjoy the sexual process. In some situations, sex has become merely an act to produce children in order to get on with business of buying things for them, then building bigger houses to hold their stuff, thus initiating children into a system that continues to destroy the earth. Far too many humans have forgotten how to live as vital sexual beings. You have forgotten that it is essential to honor life, the life you produce and the life you live. We ask those of you who will be the creators of the coming generations to produce a frequency in your body that will establish a vibration of love, one that will open the lines of time to the whole new understanding of living. Invite the children you want to birth into your field. Guarantee them love as you call in the great keepers of love who are waiting to be born. Welcome your children and let them know that you are willing to learn from them as well as the vibration of love and how to produce it in unlimited abundance. We appeal to you to populate Earth with people who maintain a very high vibration. And to do so means taking care of the children, not just the ones you personally birth. Start to really observe the children you encounter and send frequencies that lets them know you are happy they are here. Today, children are all frequency projectors and modulators extraordinaire. And with each year, new children are born gifted with greater abilities to hold more and more frequency. These children will not be satisfied with the worn-out ways of the old interpretation, so do not harm them by subjugating them to a system of medical care that works on fear rather than on healing. Your children often take on the difficulties you hold in your own field, especially their problems that you avoid. Pay special attention to what your children are telling you. Everything is symbolic. The empire of the mind is vast, calling you from every continent and every direction. All the gods who left their footprint on the earth in all lines of time, those whose names are known and those who are unknown, all are returning. This is why many of you now feel impulsed to visit sacred sites, because the gods held their held their events and stages their dramas at many of the ancient stone temple sites of your planet. When you visit these sites, you appear to be in the third dimensional earth traveler, while your other selves play out dramas in other times in space, same space, versions of yourself. Remember what else you have been, what sandals, shoes, boots you wore on your feet, how you styled your hair and the color of your skin as you change your human costume, just as the earth changes seasons again and again. The heavens present an opportunity, so do not be afraid of what will appear. The light of comets, celestial bodies of various shapes, swirls, spirals, streaks, and flashes will punctuate the heavens. You will not always be certain of what is transpiring. There are many means and ways in which celestial symbols and signatures can be produced, electric, electronics and otherwise. In the late 20th century Earth, you have invented devices with which to project images onto the heavens, joining the time jumpers arriving from Atlantis and the 2012s, as well as those who come from every direction of time, bringing their technology with them. The show of existence is unfolding, and the entities from everywhere bring their media equipment to park it here for this 25-year period. By now, you are beginning to wonder how you will make sense of it all. How crazy will it become? It will become as crazy as you want. You will always have the opportunity to breathe slowly and deeply, to reflect on the events, to put a smile on your face and say, "Oh, great fiduciary, thank you for assisting me, for keeping the threads woven together into a pattern I can decipher." When my ancestors opened these realms and could not translate the experience into words, they brought their meanings into art. Allow me also to bring the meaning of this great change into my own version of the living art, an art that allows me to express the feelings in all of my being. The making of great beauty is at hand, dear friends, a beauty embracing a rare essence of existence that we do not want any of you to miss. Become the creators of your own reality, 6 billion gods awake, alive, and buzzing, and let the others wonder how to handle it. As you switch on and you take charge of your own lives, you will establish a whole new experience of living where, within your courage to be unique and pioneering, you will debunk fear and limited thinking. The Aquarian age is an age where the gods will be seen to be everywhere, in everything, more gods than ever. Okay, next chapter. Family of Dark. As pioneers of consciousness, you are on a journey that can change your course quite rapidly. One moment you can feel in balance as if you are on the top of a galactic center, and the next moment you can find yourself in one of the deepest, darkest black holes of existence. When you move into the realms of expanded consciousness, many tests are required of you, and this journey will take you into some dark, foreboding places as well. Many of you may want to stop before you enter the dark cavern, as if entering would guarantee self-destruction. We ask you to recognize that darkness is the greatest before the dawn, and the darkness holds many keys. We address you as a family of light, those who have forgotten their ancestral knowledge and are striving to remember. Your polar opposite, family of dark. Remember the invisible worlds and the teachings the ancestors passed down orally or kept in secret texts and tablets, or carved on stone. Family of Dark has kept many secrets. In your mind, the dark holds its secrets because you cannot see what is there. Explore the ideas of opening your eyes in the dark and becoming comfortable with it, being able to see in the dark, and therefore accepting it. Some of you are terrified of the darkness outside your door, will not walk into the unlit room. You imagine all kinds of entities existing in the darkness. Your imagination is rich, and if you were equally as drawn to the light around the corner, you would accelerate your growth at a rapid rate. However, part of your psyche has a macabre fixation on the dark, both wanting it and feeling terrified of it at the same time. We will now point out the path of darkness that has been prevalent in the Book of Earth, a darkness that holds secrets that would stop many from passing through it, a darkness that is itself an initiation. Yet there is power there. We cannot call it bad power because power is power, just like money is money and technology is technology. Intention always focuses and uses the use of knowledge affecting what you create. As you journey further with us, the terrain becomes more mysterious and the shadows deepen. The crevice narrow and the sounds of unknown energies intensify. Imagine that you are walking by yourself in the dark, forbidden territory. Breathe deeply and tell yourself to relax, then call to mind some of the heroes of your planet, whether fictitious characters or living persons, who have faced challenges alone, met their own fears and moved through them. Let your heroes and heroines come to mind now, those who are pioneers in their own right, holding their own light as they bushwhack their way through unique unknown territories. Whenever you go somewhere new, you are bound to meet an unknown. The presumptions you apply to the unknown territory determines what you will experience. You cannot go into higher frequencies of energy without exploring every territory. Therefore, the dark side of humanity and the dark side of existence now call to you to examine and understand them. The dark side of power has many secrets, hiding your inheritance as being a biological magnificence, as well as knowledge concerning the power of your mind, the power to regenerate and replicate yourself, and to truly understand the process of sexuality, birth, living, and death. You must learn to stop fearing the darkness, understand the wide variety of sexual expression that creates power, the power that rests at the core of your inheritance as human beings. As your value change, you must recall the Divine Mother, the goddess energy, for it is she who is missing in the bonding of male and female. Her place must be rightfully restored within your story of courage and living. The goddess can be seen in both men and women, although for external representation it may be molded as feminine. Female energy has taken many forms, sometimes appearing very controlled, designed to please those around her, and sometimes taking on ferocious warlike qualities as the legends of the Amazons, the woman who rode valiant steeds into war. What is your current understanding of female energy? Historically speaking, the goddess has been banished in the Piscean age. It was not until almost the first 500 years of this age that an agreement was reached honoring the mother of the Savior, the one you call Christ, a focal point of the Piscean age. The story of the mother and child is ancient and actually dates back thousands of years through cultures that knew that the mother held the power of blood. She alone could produce blood without wounds. This was dark magic. Blood holds the richness of everything you are, the sum total of your vibration. Certain rituals of the Piscean age even decreed that drinking of blood and eating of the body. What do these words recall? You may say they are metaphorical, yet we say that everything is coded with a deeper meaning, and that there is truth behind truth and plan behind plan. Truth is always based upon your ability to move from concentration to expansion, from degeneration to regeneration. So, to expand your point of view, consider the unthinkable, the completely and totally ridiculous, and understand that to become informed does not mean that you are converted. Although energies can be created through the power of sex, you experience sexuality for many different reasons. For most of you, there seems to be a drive. You say your hormones are alive. You seek a partner to create a release, an exchange of energy. You receive pleasure, get what you want, and move about your business. You often do not associate what happens on a biological, cellular level with the sexual act. The act of sexual intercourse is a regenerative force. The organism or orgasm experience can be used to enhance and build much more stronger energy fields. However, the expression of sexuality can also produce something entirely different when sex is not based on love but is used for ritual abuse, violation. Many other possibilities can occur. And sex magic, a lot of people are into that now. It's getting really, really big. Like in Nelson and all over, they do yoni ceremonies. And lots of women are getting into that because they want feminine power, and it's getting really distorted. Some ancient cultures on the planet, especially in the East, were wary of sexual relationships during eclipses, new and full moons. They understood that energies of the heavens influence your energies and your energy field, which connects you to the etheric realms. They also understood that astral realms were a place where beings can become trapped. We dare say that Earth is now permeated with lost and fragmented beings seeking wholeness who have collapsed into your energy fields. Your fear of living attracts these astral entities, and then you make a home for them. They are often human who lost spirits, were fragmented by dying, their fields shattered because they did not know how to die or even realize they did. You have been steered towards fearful deaths through stories that do not unite you with who you are, and so you die poisoned, sick, and toxic. It is difficult to raise up like a fountain and keep yourself intact when you approach the great doorway of death in this state. This is a vast problem on your planet. Astral beings are like parasites that are attracted to you, and a lot of people want their dead relatives around them that haven't gone over to the light, and they're parasites. Lots of people, they want to have all kinds of things around them, and they don't understand that. These astral beings are like parasites that are attracted to you. The astral realm continues to collapse and pour down onto you humans. You then become possessed by the energies, and although you do not realize or recognize their presence, your lives change. You may feel drained and depleted, or your habits suddenly become bizarre and you cannot sleep at night, have headaches and unexplained body aches and illnesses. In actuality, you are battling more than a toxic earth where foods are irradiated or grown outside your country and then returned full of poisons. The mind of people are unsettled and becoming so readily or so readable that the airways themselves are no longer peaceful. As you become more psychic, you will feel the relentlessness. Fear is always used to divide and conquer people. Divide and conquer you have been throughout time. That is another test in this area. Will you gather the great oncoming energy and weave yourself back together? Or will you splinter and create more wars and separations? There are energies that want you to separate on the physical level and on the interdimensional planes. Vast beings living for thousands of years in your terms make their living ruling and parenting you, seeking their value from you because you have considered yourself valueless and purposeless. Those who would rule you on the physical and multidimensional planes understand the power of your genitals to create life, pleasure, pain, and death. They use your genitals as doorways without you even realizing it, and know the minds of your children are slowly being influenced so that their innocence is siphoned off in an invisible fashion. And this too you do not even notice. It does not serve for you to be angry or to blame other people for what is occurring, for these are signs of the time. If the innocence of children has been lost, then look to yourselves and see what you have done to allow it. The mother and child story that exists all over the planet is an important one for you to remember. Symbols speaking of more than what is evident. In these stories, where is the Father? In this day of cloning, the new method of reproducing yourselves, many people will want to regenerate themselves through technology, through acquiring body parts, and through surgery, plastic and otherwise. A tremendous misuse of power occurs with human embryos that are produced on your planet, as well as with people of all ages who disappear. Some leave the planet and others go underground. A huge market exists in selling of people on your globe. How will you change this? First, you must learn the value of life that you produce from your sexual coupling, because if you do not value that life, it may not create its own value. Wayshowers are repattering many realities now. They live quietly. You may never hear their names, yet they are pioneering new avenues of frequency where the dark conspiracy stories of planetary, solar, and galactic control can be understood. This is no mystery to those of you who have spotted the clues over the years, the synchronicities that have shown you the bigger picture of existence, where everything is much more connected. Yet you have been encouraged to believe that nothing is connected. To understand the reconstruction of Earth's frequencies, you must first learn about the controllers of the Earth, because the challenges you will be facing in the next 15 years will involve the darkest and the dark energies, the darkness before the dawn. Some of you will eventually ask, how could things become so corrupt? Well, how could they? That is for you to answer. Your challenge is to go from the lowest frequencies to the highest, and exploring the dark misuse of power will take you there. You are regridding Earth and changing the frequencies so that one by one, lights go on in the field of energy are established. You must learn how to stop feeding these vampires who suck your energies from the astral planes, from the dimensions, and from on and under the Earth herself. Your sexuality and how it is used are the key elements. Many leaders from around the globe, particularly in the field of politics, religion, and education, especially in those areas that are purportedly dedicated to children, are part of the masses converted organizations of pedophiles who use children for sex. This can occur when parents are not in communication or in touch with children themselves. It occurs because this inclination is passed from one family member to another for generations. This is one of the darkest secrets of the family of dark on your planet. The houses of the rich are riddled with this secret. Sex with family members, sex with ritual abuse, sex for calling in darkness and dark goddesses, where no vibration of love exists, only a vibration of seeking power. When we talk about power and darkness, do not feel that you have to run away from this realizations to have light. You must learn about the power of darkness in order to understand the wounds and the waywardness in the souls of these beings who are desperately seeking something that was never given to them by their parents or by anyone else. Because of this lack, the practice stays in their bloodline. What is missing? You already know it is love. The wayward ones on your planet, whether murderers, rapists, pedophiles, or mass manipulators, are all devoid of love and do not know it. And so your task of healing the planet will grow greater as the dark secrets of the world, ruling families, and their dark occult practices are discovered. As we look at the Book of Earth, we see that in so many cases your ancestors made the same mistakes. They wanted the pomp and circumstances of the royalty and the parades before them, especially when their own celebration and festivals lost their meanings. When the cycles of time and the meaning of light and dark, the modulations of cycle changes were lost, they became fixated on the outside world. You gave your power away to leaders who in many ways felt obligated to assume the power that you pressed on them. They did not know how to generate it themselves. Their fathers, mothers, grandparents were introduced to mysteries and practices, which often began benevolently. It may be the same for you as well. However, on the path of power, when darkness crosses your path, you cannot run from it. For many of these rulers who at one time were benevolent power beings, when darkness crossed their path, they made an alliance. They took on powers over others through secrecy and lies. And since one lie creates another and another, honesty became harder and harder to maintain. Misuse of sexuality is not new. Child pornography and child slavery, slavery of men and women around the globe, and the raping of men and women have always been common. You have hidden the practice in your stories of the earth and do not study the subject in your classroom. Perhaps you will consider studying the dark, having a course in your schools devoted to the dark misuse of power. As you educate your young, it is important to place the card of darkness on the table. In many areas around the world, the dark forces are acknowledged and offerings are made, tokens left, even in the practice of exorcising entities attached to humans. An offering of food or a piece of sweet is used to pull the entity into the offering. You relinquish your history, your stories, your richness of living, and trade this off for meaningless texts that require you to produce meaningless data so you can continue to live meaningless lives. You attend family reunions, picnics, cocktail parties, assuring each other that you will continue to make your mortgage payments and be good citizens. You drink, you eat your society's poison, and turn your children over to the Big Brother mind control world management team, where one does not think about simply performing at warp speed or is eliminated. Newspapers, television networks, and the media are all owned and operated by small handfuls of individuals. True ownership of these enterprises is difficult to track because there are plans within plans and players behind players, and nothing is exactly as it appears. It is time to wake up and realize you are being fed misinformation designed to limit and control you, to have you support and become part of the economy of death. As you lose your vitality, you run from one so-called medical person to another, using up your insurance, your inheritance, to guarantee what? The sicker you become, the more you search, the more you keep this economy of death thriving. Do you understand? As we share the dark parts of the story with you, such as the covert and perverted sexual practice of your rulers, it is not for us to name names. You will discover for yourself that in every country around the globe, those in the highest positions have been put there because they are qualified by their perversion to hold power over others. This has been a secret for eons, but today everyone is coming out of the closet, so to speak. Mayors are cross-dressing in public, and pretty soon you will have a president or a pope cavorting as a chorus girl. Everything has gone tipsy-turvy. No one is certain of what is what anymore. Your values are all askewed, and rightfully so. It makes good starting place. As you examine the dark misuse of humanity and how you have been tricked, scammed, and schemed against, Perhaps you will throw out this frivolous adornment and reestablish a value for yourself based on your power as spiritual biological beings. Ideally, this is probability you will choose as a thread of change, wind, and weave themselves through the late 20th and 21st century Earth. Angry protests will arise from people around the globe, and the energies will intensify to an outrageous state, energies that ask you to change. There will be shocks and scandals and the likes of which you have never seen. Idly you will wake up and see that what is happening in one country is happening everywhere. In another age, the people were once divided by the Tower of Babel when God came down and said, "These people are unifying, and pretty soon they will be greater than we are. Let us confound their tongues and divide them." And so the diverse language were created. Today, few of you are bilingual or trilingual. Most of you are isolated, compartmentalized in your own little houses, unconnected to your neighbor or to the globe you live upon. Yet you claim to be global community alive through electronics, as if this longevity of the globe, alive for billions of years, does not register remarkable. We ask you to rethink and reevaluate your lives as you are called to regenerate yourself. You shall change, you will change, you must change, because it is the season of change. When the storm becomes dark, find your courage and face your fears. Ask for assistance from your great trustee, the fiduciary, who will help you find the dark and survive encounters. When you run from the dark, you give it more power, allowing it to perpetuate itself. When you ignore practices that harm others, especially those of sexual nature, then you uphold the act of harm. Each of you is called upon to heal the human spirit, to make a frequency on earth where newborn babies who will bring in the frequency of love are valued and loved in return. You must guarantee that your young will not be violated, turned into mind-controlled zombies or sex slaves shipped to other planets to work on farms, become genetic laboratories for body parts, or produced their young for questioning multidimensional desperates to rebuild their own depleted genetics. Many indigenous people of the world were in touch with their multidimensional ancestors. They knew them through the dimensions, through time, and through their own blood. They also knew that they would live again and again, which is why in this development of their own cultures, they planned ahead, sometimes for 7 generations. Your ancestors understood this principle, which has been deleted from your sacred texts. However, the world management team remembers family of light, family of dark do not have separate books of knowledge. They can each know the same information. In the near future, people will track their lineage in a different way. Today you track family trees based on parents and grandparents, yet soon you will structure yourself from a multidimensional lineage. At first, there will be many impostors, as there often are when the gates open in new territory. You may find wild, rabble-rousing multidimensionals who live free, yet rarely with integrity, claiming to be your kin. You must learn to recognize when you are fleeced or had taken or stung. Do not hold anger over your realization. Simply wise up. Your world leaders have been acting this way for centuries. Today there is a tendency to play with the dark in a way that is more audacious than ever. Why? It seems in the book of Earth that without family of dark, outrageously, preposterously trashing every single one of your values and boundaries, you would never awaken. You would remain complacent, like cows chewing cud, never noticing what was transpiring. So the outrage, the insult, the shock, the distress, misuse of trust will wave their banners high on earth. When it reaches that stage, you can say to yourself, "Ah, the time is at hand." And once that stage is reached, know there is still much more to come. No human lives long enough or quite clever enough to come up with these immense plans of control. So when you look behind the scenes, you will learn about an ancient race with their own tale of division, a tale of secrecy and hidden powers. They are the ancient reptiles, your ancestors, your kin. Reptilian beings have been ruling behind the scenes for eons, placing puppets in front of you as their messengers. These puppets often do understand they are possessed and taken over by massive manipulators. Sometimes, when they do discover that they are part of immense and grotesque a plan, they feel shrunken and shriveled, even though they may be popes, presidents, kings, queens, and other prestige and power. They recognize that they are nothing more than mere tools, taken over because they made a home for these forces through perversion, lies, and attachments to sex and their lust for material objects. Your world is full of darkness, a different version today as versions go, but no difference in its impact that the lessons that the darkness assists you to learn in all ages. It is one thing to read about outrageous scenarios in newspapers and quite another to have them fall in your lap. Whenever the darkness finds you in your life, know that it comes in through difficult situations where your fear may rise, like a wave of energy running up your arm, electrifying the stem of your brain, the reptilian brain, asking you to remember something. When this happens, know in the core of your being that you are part of a plan, that your chapter is now ready to unfold into the deepest parts of darkness so that you can create a change by changing your frequency. You cannot reach a light without knowing the dark, and the dark comes in massive amounts asking to be healed. There will be a tremendous exposure of shocking perversion because love from mother to child and father to child is missing. The form of love we speak of has not been practiced here for hundreds of years and thousands of years. Genetically, you are dealing with cleansing of a long line of humanity, generation upon generations of wounds. It is a challenging time in which you live, and a challenge to examine how degenerate humankind frequencies have become as a whole. The task ahead is not underestimate the job, but to truly look at the darkness and see work that has been cut out for you. To regenerate yourself and your planet by finding what is really important, what you are going to value. Shocking changes will create a destabilization of civilization. This is all that is meant to be. Some of you want to experience a time of light as you are driving from one picnic to another. That is not the case. This issue of accountability must be addressed on your planet, not to blame people, but to teach them that at this time each person must be his or her own leader. The truth is that no one is going to lead you. You are coming into an age of Aquarius where the gods become visible, where everyone is God. Do not become frightened. When your leaders fall, it is all designed so you can know the worst of family secrets. The parents sexually abuse their children from generation to generation because they do not know love. Love must prevail. You must clean your biological line, the ethers and the astral plane, because the new children wanting to be born will only be attracted by a frequency that guarantees they will be cherished. Without the cherishing of your children, you do not guarantee the continuity of humankind on earth. This also requires that you respect and cherish the sexual act, for the qualities of your coupling will determine the frequency in your energy fields. There's no escaping this truth. Your sexuality happens to be the seat of your biological power. It is through sexuality that you arrive here, even though cloning is in vogue. If you were to jump into the future, you would see that you cannot create a clone of yourself, that is as vital as you are. As we said, clones are not imprinted with the vitality of sex, with the experience of living beings, and so they fall short of expectations after a while. There are many cloned humans in your world as well as in many designed doubles. This practice has been in place for thousands of years. It was initiated to replace those in power by lookalikes. Today, the art of science of cloning is more refined and fine tuned, and art learned from multidimensionals who have lost their procreative powers have come here to secretly steal yours. However, those with true power need no secrets. True power is yours. It can be shared and given away again and again. In the giving, it simply increases. And by holding on to the secrecy and hiding it, power eventually diminishes and shrinks. That's why I give everything. It doesn't belong to me. Accept your power by accepting the stories of darkness, knowing that your ancestors faced the same challenges, although not as magnanimous as you. You have so much assistance. The fiduciary is there to weave you through the massive expansion of power to understanding yourself. That is so complete, so complex and awesome that it is as if you were growing from seedling to a giant sequoia in the afternoon. Contemplate that. This acceleration of beauty and power is an inheritance. Today's energy calls forth from within you as you pass through new territories of awareness and grow to the light that you so desire to be, the light that touches each and every one of you. Light too must be understood, for the gods play their tricks. You know, even with light, the solutions you seek will be found inside yourself. Your feelings and responses to the shattering world around you require you to rebuild yourself by accepting what is taking place. For in dissolution, something new is created. The life cycle includes death, followed by new rebirth, like the stories of the phoenix rising out of the ashes. This understanding is an important phase of your development, and the solution is for you to weave together, make sense of the multidimensional perspectives you are learning. Make peace and gather with the loved ones and friends, honor and respect each one. Violate no one's territory, whether through words, action, or deed. Honor all as you would be honored, and understand that the great wounds of human psyche came forwards. Now, wounds that are a legacy in your genes, wounds passed on in darkness. The wounds of the ancestors will now be brought to light of day, will appear that the task of healing is beyond you, that you have no salves or antibiotics for the diseases of the mind that will be revealed. These diseases or discomforts have been invisible for a long time. As you search to discover the cures, do not forget that you are multidimensional creatures, and often the solution lies not just in the physical body but in the astral plane. Those invisible worlds where beings are attached to you, where possession and merging occurs like night and day. It is to this area of spirit that you are called, and when the darkness is the greatest before the dawn. No, it is a spiritual clue. So open your eyes and do not be shaken by the hooting owl or the strange sounds you hear in the night. Go forwards into the territory of the dark. Hold a lit candle and see what is in there. Intend to understand it. Open your heart and know that the diseased mind within the human spirit is waiting to be healed. The dis-ease of the mind separates you from one another, creating violence between lovers, family, and friends. It is a dark violence that cloaks itself in secrets and controls the spirit in a way finer than any mind control your 3D operators can ever hope to achieve. The mind controllers and those who influence the weather and all aspects of your economy, religion, education, and medicine will reveal, because you are now ready to take change and influence yourself. Only by understanding how you have been influenced Would you then dare to be in charge? As humans, you have so abdicated the power of living that you do not know you are walking zombies. Those responsible for your plight think they are so much better than you. However, their darkness creates endless difficulties for them. You must begin to heal these wounds. Your compassion and forgiveness must include an understanding of existence on a scale broader than any apparent singular 3D event. A realization these misuses of power are predominant throughout the pages of the Book of Earth. The healing must be deep. In this process, you will find your power and ideally heal your wounded leaders, and wounded they are indeed. Some will self heal, others will proclaim their shame, and once they have exposed their darkness, become great leaders. However, most will create their own destruction, and you will have to clear the astral planes of their polluted forms. You will need to call out to people and those who have kept their old traditions alive, sharing the teachings of the ancestors, the way of the mystery and the spirit world, the importance of balancing the light and the dark, the importance of the four directions, the elements, and the cleansing rituals, and the practices that have been left to you. This is what I try to teach people. This is one of the greatest challenges you now face, how to negotiate with and claim your power from beings you cannot see, beings who have far more power than you realize. So it is the reptiles who are in the need of healing in order to reestablish the frequencies of love as a foundation of their existence. We are not saying that all reptile energies are rampantly moving towards evil, just as it would be unfair to say that the same for all humans, although it could appear that the way if one were uninformed about either group. We know there are many good humans, and it is time for them to awaken because they are encoded to develop the test of their own powers. As Pleiadian travelers, the time jumpers who seek to know and explore ourselves, we have certainly looked into the darker chapters of the bigger book of existence. We have seen these tests again and again. They are different in every place, and yet they are all the same. The perversity the change of energy receives from harming others is what keeps you separated. Usually your body sensing system and the mechanisms are accessing higher, lighter, and ecstatic frequencies are closed down, nailed shut, no trespassing signs. The beings who feed off harm to others, whether they are humans or multidimensional, are feeding their own energy fields through a limited channel. This energy is not freely flowing through them. So when they access energies, they want a lot of it, and usually of violent nature. Those who create harm to others are starved energetically. Why? Because they do not have love and do not feel connected and are shut off from the living. The walking living dead is what you are without love. There are not They are not gratifying concepts to hear about yourself as humankind, yet we do not say them to share them in judgment. We see the earth and her cycle as flowings of energy. Our intention is to let you know who you are, to mirror for you, and to document the quest that you as humankinds have undertaken. When you are climbing a mountain, it is a very different experience than when you are on the plain looking back. Climbing creates a possibility to elevate the terrain from one point, then reevaluate it from another. You are now living in the swamplands of Earth. There are joyous places to visit and exquisite times to be had. However, the swampland cannot be missed. The dank, dark energy must be acknowledged. Then you can decide to do with the swamps what you will. The ancient gods drained the swamps of Mesopotamia and created fertile lands. Numerous creative choices call you. However, the focus of healing is most important for you to embrace at this time. Massive unrest will lead to to revolutions, uprising, cries of vengeance and anarchy. Many leaders will flee their lands. This in itself is a sign. People will find their voice. The United States has a destiny, as does each country on every continent. At whatever corner of the world you find yourself, with whatever blood is running through your veins, find yourself dignity and be proud to be human. You must link yourself as a collective of human beings. It is the pride you could feel about being a human from the planet Earth. It is missing from your collective life. We do not refer to the arrogant pride, but to one that opens your heart, that connects you to oneness. In doing so, add qualities of significance and purpose to your lineage, to your chapter of the Book of Earth. Energies of different shapes and size come through heaven, although the reptiles appear to hold your biggest challenge because they are behind the scenes rulers. They are particularly dominant in the world management team and other structures that you revere, especially those of religious nature. They encourage their participants to follow meaningless rituals and to teach others to do the same. If you participate in a ritual, make it your own or be certain that you understand what is occurring. It is easy to siphon off your power, to have you say your hallelujahs, amens, and prayers without you really understanding who or what you are. Just about to the end, couple more pages. Who or what you are invoking. World religion will fall in the same way that history books will be thrown out. Usually sightings in the heavens will continue, streaking balls of light, comets, mystery fires in the sky, unusual lightings, bizarre phenomena. We remind you once again that without the dark, you would not see the play of light, the cosmic frequencies involved in many layers of plans. You may ask, are these sightings natural occurrences or artificial? The Creator is everything, so is anything natural. So anything artificial, it is not connected. Frequency control of your mind will become a paramount issue of concern on your planet. How you are given visions through television, computers, music, movies, and through invisible microwave transmissions that influence your thought patterns and your patterns of living. Mind control will be seen as the ultimate battle with darkness. As your world leaders show their wounds and tell their stories, you see similar patterns from country to country. You will ask, how could this be? The darkness will grow and you will eventually see the 3D plan to design and program human thought, to separate compartments of your mind, as you were to name each cell in your body, making each cell a different individual. Those who plan to control your frequencies would have all of those cells unconnected to each other, living together and never realizing their separateness, unaware of the connection. Because you separate yourself from your children, from your power, from your genitals, from one another, from wanting to know your power, you provide a fertile ground for the compartmentalization of your minds. Mind control is not new. Frequency control is perhaps a new term. However, mind control has been around a long time. As you explore the ways your mind are controlled through overt and covert operations in your world, you will eventually understand the control that comes through the dimensions, what power, what occult inheritance and legacy you really battle. The Book of the Ancients will have greater meaning if you do not presuppose their messages. These books mention arrivals from the heavens that hold many clues as to what you will face. Uncovering the dark in all its awesome power will herald for you the power of the gods. It will be one thing to face the perverse practices and mind controls of your world leaders and take a stand and demand integrity, yet at the same time to love and have compassion for what you would really want to destroy. However, it will be quite another thing indeed for you to stand back like a story of David before the giant Goliath, when you begin to understand the entities that these very wound world leaders really represent. All those in exalted positions will find themselves playing out leadership roles to the masses, so they will each claim your own power. Teaching from the dark side shows you the traps to avoid with your inheritance to power. With those quickenings, those people willing to be exposed at this time are on their own stage, mirroring for the world a new teaching, especially those who receive tremendous attention. No one is ever a victim, although your conquerors would have you believe in your own victimhood. How else could they conquer you? In the biggest book of existence and in the book of earth, there are no victims. Those who forget they are creators and who choose fear forget love and separate themselves. It is the same story with different players again and again. Eventually, in the broader picture, it is the same story with the same players again and again. We ask you with the courage of your being to call forth the darkness that is waiting to be healed. From a place of love and a place of courage, as the family of light, we ask you to send out a call and say, darkness, misuse of power, violation, perversion of people, and the earth herself. It's time for you to reveal yourself, and in the revealing will be the healing. So come forward, Stark, that the world may know you, and then we may know that the light and all rejoice as one. This is the noble call and does not imply the darkness will take over your life. You are calling the darkness and misuse of energy to be healed so that all humans can express their sexuality with love, so that children are honored and given a rightful opportunity to initiate their own sexual exploration without having sex forced upon them through ritual, rape, or violation. It is in this very deep part of your regenerative self, your sexual organs' core of being, that many of the main problems lie, problems of dark, so secretly that no one would dare speak of them, yet they must be revealed. To relinquish power over your sexual organs is truly to dictate the power of living, or abdicate the power of living. By power, we mean a sense of connectedness and accountability, the maturity to know that when to express yourself sexually and when not to know the sex is a consensual act in its highest form, and that the creation of life must be consensual. This is why your clonings will never work. It is not a consensual act. The spirit is not factored in the process. You are unique biological human beings, and as we have said, the gods stash their stuff in you, the best of everything. It is light extraordinaire that you create, and by cherishing your genitals, your biological substance, and healing yourselves, the potential inside you are activated. So we ask you once again to look at your life. What have you done to make peace, to find purpose, to throw out what you do not need, and to release judgments of what you have done? As ancestors of multidimensionals, as humans in this and other lifetimes, what have you learned? Establish a value that you will see you through the next stages of expansion, and thus the pulling together, synthesizing everything you are, and coming to an integrity, exalted place of living. First, you must make peace with the sexual organs of your being, because it is here that life springs forth. You can be a pure wellspring of life whether you have children or not, for your vibration acts as a source of life. You are challenged now to maintain. By valuing your sexuality, you can perhaps reestablish the frequency of humankind and qualify to bring in new children who must be guaranteed that they will be cherished as the ultimate source of humankind. If only each of you had been given that guarantee, born as an ultimate resource. Sometimes what you do not receive yourself is the gift you give as your own legacy. Raise your vibration at this time from the core of your sexual self and how you identify yourself as male or female. Imagine that you are being finds its stance and grows in value. Give up your confusion. Seek that which values you. Lay down perversion and distortion of all that harms the vibration of human dignity. For those who confuse you and reorganize that or recognize that their confusion is theirs and your clarity is yours, the confusion will become greater as men appear as women and women appear as men, all convinced that these are androgynous times. It seems to us as we look at you that you are seeking balance inside yourself and you are what you are, and yet nothing is exactly as it appears to be. Seek wholeness, seek health, seek sane living, seek understanding the darkness, and ask the fiduciary to be your trusted administrator and guide you through the ways ahead. The most of all, seek the understanding, the power of your sexuality to infuse its expression only with love, for sex without love is truly not worth experiencing. Each of you must come to that conclusion and hold a standard. Perhaps you will create a new population for Earth, a whole new legacy, as you bring dignity to the act of creation. Your creative ends when you are in fear, and your power ends where your fear begins. There are many fears, experiences that you must face, for you must know the power that fear holds over you and let the power become your own so that you would wield it in a gentle way, taking one thing and turning it into another, being an alchemist, a shapeshifter. This task is enormous. As you move from the 20th century to the 21st, yet the probability of success is there. In the book of Earth, the lines of time are not erased. They are there and you can find them. So seek them out. When you go to sleep at night, use the power of your will and intent to travel in your dreams. When you look around your community and your family and friends, know they are going through this test. Perhaps they do not express it the same way, but all of you are experiencing the same intensity of living, so find what you have in common and seek love. So tomorrow I'll come back on the gift of the gods, await, and what is after that? The legends of the cosmos.